Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Raiders Daily. My name is Jackson. I'll post daily Raiders content, so be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button if you guys enjoy it. So Tom Brady retired earlier today, and if you guys have been watching this channel for the last week or so, to me, there was no shot Tom Brady was coming to the AFC West that continues to get more and more loaded. You got Kellen Moore going to the Chargers. You had Sean Payton going to the Broncos. It's still an arms race. It wasn't necessarily what a lot of people thought it was going to be this past year, but the AFC West is completely loaded, and it's just I didn't see Tom Brady leaving home to come chase another ring with this squad. So it's weird because yesterday we also got information that Derek Carr hasn't been given permission to seek a trade. That is very strange. The deadline to trade Derek Carr before the guaranteed money comes into play is February 14th. That's exactly, at the time of this recording, 2 weeks away. So I am struggling with this because there are several different mindsets you can have when looking at this. Are the Raiders going to bring back Derek Carr? Does Derek Carr even want to come back? Do the fans even want him to come back? Do the Raiders want him to come back? Is that in the Raiders' best interest? Well, considering they made a huge trade for Davante Adams this past offseason, it wouldn't shock me if they were to be like, all right, you know what? We liked what we saw from Jarrett Stidham, so we are going to re-sign Jarrett, and we are going to bring back Derek Carr and just kind of hope the locker room is all right. Now, obviously, we're not behind the scenes, but as far as I'm concerned, it really seems like Josh McDaniels and Derek Carr's relationship is severed. And to be honest with you, it seems like Derek Carr and the Las Vegas Raiders' relationship is severed. So, maybe the Raiders just want to take more of a behind-the-scenes approach with Derek Carr, but the thing is, he has a no-trade clause. So he's going to have to okay the trade. So there's just so many moving parts with this. Now, you could even look at this team and be like, all right, what if they were to draft a quarterback at number 7 like Anthony Richardson, bring back Derek Carr for another year because the team is still more than a year away considering the offensive line and the defense. It's just such a confusing, complicated thing to this. It doesn't make too much sense. So the fact that he has not been given permission to even seek a trade, and I guess that is reportedly, it is very weird to me. It really is. It's a big question mark, in my opinion. So I'm not quite sure what's going on with this situation, but that is guaranteed news. Just 100%, Tom Brady will not be a Raider next year. And this one feels very real considering the Buccaneers as a whole, where he's at in his family life. He's living by his kids. There's just so many things going into it that Tom Brady is most likely out as being just a quarterback at any point ever again. So it is a sad day. It's a huge day in sports if this were to be legit, which I anticipate it is. So it brings up other alternatives. Well, I've been seeing Jimmy Garoppolo being floated around a lot, and we've talked about Jimmy. I actually think I made a whole video on Jimmy Garoppolo going to the Raiders. I saw a really funny tweet earlier today. It was like, getting Jimmy G is like getting a used car, spelled with 2 R's. Like, I thought that was pretty funny. But the issue with Jimmy G is, he's a solid game manager, and, he has a pretty impressive track record. He's got a nice resume. He has that connection with Josh McDaniels, but even if the Raiders want to bring him in, I still worry a lot about his health. I'm not a huge advocate of bringing in Jimmy. I'd still rather go for a rookie, but it's like, all right, maybe they draft a rookie at 7 and you sign Jimmy G on a 1-year deal as kind of a bridge starter and you go from there. Well, when you break down the possible alternatives, it's not the worst case in the world, but it's not one of the best. I am a big fan of Aaron Rodgers coming to the Raiders. I saw Davante Adams posted something really fascinating on Instagram today. I don't think it's that crazy because you have to keep in mind, If the Packers are actually going to trade Aaron Rodgers, I still think Rodgers remains in a Packers uniform, as crazy as that may seem. Jordan Love did look good in his time against the Philadelphia Eagles, but you never know. There's just so much ambiguity at this point in the offseason with Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers, and it's only going to continue. You have to think logically, if they were to trade him, they would want it to be an AFC team, because why would you trade your Hall of Fame quarterback to an NFC rival that can beat you with him, the guy you just traded away? So you typically, in all of sports, you don't see like most players, honestly, but you especially don't see high caliber Hall of Fame, all-star, several-time all-pro players get traded within the same conference. That's usually, GMs usually try to avoid that at all costs. So Aaron Rodgers to Green Bay, or Aaron Rodgers to the Raiders, it is a very realistic possibility, and I think it probably is the best one. It gets a little bit complicated because I don't think Green Bay would want Derek Carr. I don't think that's what the trade would be. Aaron Rodgers is a very pricey player, but it kind of depends on who you want at quarterback, whether it's Anthony Richardson, whether it's C.J. Stroud, whether it's Bryce Young, whether it's Derek Carr, Jimmy G, Mac Jones, whatever. A lot of who you want at that position has to do with how you view the Las Vegas Raiders. So if you think this team is more than a year away, it's like, okay, let's bring back Jarrett Stidham. Let's draft C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson, or Will Levis at pick number 7. We'll let them fight it out in camp. Most likely, Jarrett Stidham's going to be the winner because he's a very talented quarterback. And since we're more than a year away, we'll focus the rest of the draft and the rest of free agency on offensive line help and more specifically defensive help. So it's more of a process. But you could also take the approach where, all right, the Raiders' defense had some glimpses. You're in a loaded AFC West. Let's try and figure it out on the fly. Let's do a quick retool, which was last year, where you're a better team than 6 wins. So we have the 7th pick. And let's get Aaron Rodgers. Let's pair him with his best friend in Devontae Adams and the best wide receiver in the National Football League. And yeah, let's just continue to try and stay competitive. And knowing the Las Vegas Raiders, knowing the Davis family, it's not far-fetched in the slightest. So this is going to be, and it's shaping out to be a crazy offseason. I honestly, Raiders fans are awesome. They're very engaged. Across the league, we're in that weird time where, everybody wants football to be back, but it's that weird time between, like, the Conference Championship and the Super Bowl, while like the midweek with the Pro Bowl that used to be, somewhat fun, and now it's who gives a damn. Josh Allen agrees with that. I thought that was awesome that he's going to play golf instead of it. I can relate to that one. It's Raiders news, I think, is going to start to pick up here because you have the Derek Carr decision to make between now and February 14th, which is 2 weeks away from the time of this recording. So, I don't know. Most of the national football media is like, all right, let's focus on the draft. But for the Raiders, it's kind of like, oh, shoot, we kind of have a decision to make, and we kind of have a decision to make really soon. So it's just a weird time right now, but I'm excited. I am excited for new faces, new changes, and hopefully a rejuvenation within this team. So hit that like button, hit that sub button if you guys enjoy it, like Daily Raiders content, but most importantly, drop some comments down below on your thoughts. Peace.